I think everyone should be insulted by this, the intentional nature of this. Easter is a religious holiday.
Biden and the woke mob are taking a swipe at Christians this Easter.
That's also coming to Biden's defense, calling the criticism cruel and dishonest.
Every year for the past several years, on March 31st, Transgender Day of Visibility is marked. And as we know, for folks who understand the calendar and how it works, Easter falls on different Sundays.
I want everyone to grab onto something sturdy, right? Because what I'm about to say may shock you to your very core. I think I may have found evidence of a certain right-wing leaning media outlet deliberately misleading their viewers.
I am shocked. Shocked. Well, not that shocked.
It's the intentional nature of this. And for this White House to declare it, to issue a proclamation for Transgender Visibility Day.
Questions what we've been hearing out there. A lot of misinformation done on purpose. And as a Christian who celebrates Easter with family, President Biden stands for bringing people together and upholding the dignity and freedoms of every American. Now, sadly, and it's not surprising, right? It is actually unsurprising that politicians are seeking to divide and weaken our country with cruel, hateful, and dishonest rhetoric.
Now, as you may know, there were two main issues that have clogged the Fox News airwaves this week regarding a certain candidate for president in 2024. No, not Trump lying about speaking with the family members of a young girl who was murdered to demonize all migrants and politicize her death, and the subsequent message from said young girl's sister calling out Trump for doing this.
Ruby's loved ones and community are left grieving for this incredible young woman, remembering what they called her. They said she had just this most contagious laughter, and when she walked into a room, she lit up that room. And I've heard that from so many people. I spoke to some of her family.
He did not speak with any of us, so it was kind of shocking seeing that he had said that he had spoke with us and, saying, misinforming people, live TV. Shocking. I kind of stopped watching it. I only seen up to that. After I heard, a couple of misinformation that he has said, I kind of just stopped watching.
But the matter of Biden trying to steal Jesus' thunder. The real pressing issues that Americans care about.
For Transgender Visibility Day, and then at the same time, to deny the use of religious symbols in the White House Easter egg hunt art competition. Think about that one.
Oh gosh, I'll need to have a think. I think you're spreading complete bull. As usual. So much so that even Fox News' own reporter couldn't quite stomach it.
They are insulting every Christian who holds this day as a sacred day.
Conditions out here, it is rainy. We heard some thunder and lightning, and there's also some controversy surrounding the event this year. Transgender Day of Visibility falls on March 31st every year. This year, it coincided with Easter Sunday. And although President Biden, who is Catholic and attends Mass every weekend, issued a statement commemorating Easter Sunday, he also issued a statement marking Transgender Day of Visibility. Republicans sounded off about that and also about an egg decorating contest for the children of National Guard members. A flyer that was promoting the contest said kids' submissions must not include any questionable content, including religious symbols, overtly religious themes, or partisan political statements. Now, the White House says this restriction has been in place for 47 years, and the American Egg Board told Fox its rules are mandated by the USDA. But this new contest for the National Guard children was started by the First Lady in 2021, so it appears that her office just co-opted the same rules.
Oh, that's gonna hurt!
Now, with Easter coincidentally landing on Transgender Visibility Day this year, the master manipulators over at Fox had an absolute field day. In one particular segment on Fox News The 5, they were blatantly exposed for deliberately withholding lengthy parts of the response from Biden's press secretary, to of course disparage the current president. But I mean, when you put both videos side by side, it's striking. Not surprising, but striking.
The White House also coming to Biden's defense, calling the criticism cruel and dishonest.
Every year for the past several years, on March 31st, Transgender Day of Visibility is marked. And as we know, for folks who understand the calendar and how it works, Easter falls on different Sundays. right? Every year. And this year it happened to coincide with Transgender Visibility Day. And so that is the simple fact. That is what has happened. That is where we are. And I do want to say a couple of things because I think it's important here. As you just stated in your questions, what we've been hearing out there, a lot of misinformation done on purpose. And as a Christian who celebrates Easter with family, President Biden stands for bringing people together and upholding the dignity and freedoms of every American. Now, sadly, and it's not surprising, right? It is actually unsurprising that politicians are seeking to divide and weaken our country with cruel, hateful, and dishonest rhetoric. It is dishonest what we have heard the past 24 hours. It is untrue what we heard over the weekend. And, you know, we were at first, want to be very clear, confused on their coverage. We're grateful that Fox agrees with President Biden about the importance of recognizing Trans Day of Visibility. And I'll just quote something that Fox said back in 2021. They tweeted this: Trans Day of Visibility is dedicated to celebrating transgender people. To all the transgender men, women, and non-binary folk, we see you and stand with you.
Jesse Waters, what's going on? What do you think about all this?
And it's not the first time they've been caught doctoring footage to fit their agenda. And one would think that a network forced to pay out $700 million plus for deliberately misleading their audience, that they'd be a tad more careful with the presentation of their news. Barely even saying news there. But then again, this is also the same network running segments like this while discussing the God-fearing man set to stand trial for paying hush money to a porn star.
Story, and yes, many of us, none of us here on the sofa or the curvy couch have gone to prison, so we can't relate to that message, but I can relate to the overall message that God uses the least likely. Look at the disciples. They were fishermen. You know, they were probably cussing out there on the boats, and God said, you follow me, and they did. Look at Donald Trump. I mean, who would have thought he would have been president one day when he was on our show for all those years, and then God used him.
Ready your heart. It's the 5th Sunday of Lent, and our prayer series continues with a reading of prayer from the Hallow app. We all need it. Let's do it this morning. Close your eyes, if you would. Bow your head. Jesus.
Trump shared an AI-generated courtroom sketch that depicted Jesus sitting next to him at one of his trials. All this reminds me of a Bible verse from Matthew chapter 7, verse 15. Beware of the false prophets who come to you in sheep's clothing.
And away from this nothing controversy, we should be discussing the things that Biden is doing this week that actually matter for Americans, such as taking on Big Pharma.
The big reason why we're lying awake at night with these questions is because the drug companies are charging exorbitant prescription drug prices. Higher prices than anywhere in the world. And Bernie said it, I was listening in the back. Bernie, you and I have been fighting this for 25 years. Finally we beat Big Pharma. Finally.
In my view, we can no longer tolerate companies like Novo Nordisk charging the American people $1,000 a month for Ozempic, a drug that costs less than $5 to manufacture, when that same exact product is sold in Germany for $59. $1,000 in America, $59 in Germany, unacceptable. We can no longer tolerate Astellas and Pfizer charging Americans with prostate cancer over $165,000 for Xtandi, when the exact same product can be purchased for just $20,000 in Japan. Even more disturbing is the reality that over half of the new drugs coming onto the market today cost $300,000. And a number of them actually cost over $1 million. This is an issue that we must get a handle on. I want to thank President Biden for what he has done on this issue up to now, and I look forward to working with the president as we go forward.
But no, this is what Fox is focused on.
And he is thumbing his nose at Christians and Easter, and he's essentially spitting in the face of Christians everywhere.
I think we got to hit it head on and suggest to President Trump and Mike Johnson and Senator Blackburn and others who are relying on the words of their Christ and their Jesus they celebrate today to condemn Joe Biden, to suggest to them that actually the Jesus they celebrate today would be inclusive of the transgendered community and would be supportive of the transgendered community and command all Christians, including Donald Trump, Mike Johnson, and others who celebrate today, that in fact they should love the transgendered community as they love their own God.
Love this video? Make sure you stay up to date on the latest breaking news and all things Midas by signing up to the MeidasTouch newsletter at MeidasTouch.com/newsletter.